hi, we're super excited to be here. We're coming far from France. So as you will probably notice, we're not like American native. So even with the subtitles here, you will have to suffer our strong accent, but we'll do our best. So the title of the presentation is The Journey to Bring Real-Time ERP Data to Lakehouse. There is a pretty interesting word in this title, journey. Doesn't it look exciting for you? For me, journey, I see a knight, you see, like a data citizen, which tries to go through some lakes, and he tries to fight data organization, data governance, which could be seen as the dragon, okay? So this is the testimony of what we have tried so far to expose our ERP data to the Lakehouse. You know, we have been highly trained for this presentation. And our coach told us, you know, guys, you can insert a joke at the beginning of the presentation. Probably the audience will appreciate so that you break the glass. So here's the joke. Now the glass is, I'm sure, fully broken. We can deep dive to the presentation. So I'm Fabien Cochet. I'm an IT expert in data and analytics at Michelin.
And I'm Pierre-Luc Chevillot. I'm a technical leader for data analytics on supply chain domain. I have a quick question for you. Do you know what Michelin is famous for in this audience? Tires, obviously. Do you know other things?
Restaurant.
Restaurants,
All
yeah.
right.
But, yeah. You know, we have a new video to show you to explain what Michelin can do for everyone.
Don't hold back, cause you woke up in the morning with initiative to move, so I make it harder. Don't hold back, if you think about it, so many people do be cool and look sad. Don't hold back, and you shouldn't even care about those odors in the air and the crooked stairs. Don't hold back, cause there's a party over here, so you might as well be here with the people care. Don't hold back.
Impulsion nominale. Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux. Trajectoire nominale.
Chaque jour, Michelin innove pour faire avancer le monde sur la route. Et bien au-delà. Michelin, Motion for Life.
Okay, so it was in French because the new advertising campaign is only in Europe, actually. Sorry for that. So some key figures from Michelin. We are worldwide, obviously, with a lot of countries, a lot of people in the organization, more than 1,032 people all around the world. And you see, we sell a lot of tires and, like you see, other kind of device for medical, transplantation, logistics, and obviously for a lot of stuff. But you can look at one figure at the bottom. It is R&D. And we invest a lot in R&D.
But why? Clickers. Okay. We have a strong ambition at Michelin. Our goal is to make everything that we're going to produce by 2030 is going to be fully sustainable. And to do that, we are relying on 3 pillars. So the first one, nothing new, profit, of course. We care profit. Otherwise, we won't be here today to talk to you, okay? And the other two are also pretty strong. Nothing new also, especially around the planet, because late in the 90s, Michelin craft an energy saver tires, so we were already taking care about the planet, and also about the people. For the people, it's our, of course, internal employees, but also our customers, our partners, like Databricks. And you have a E at the center. It means that everything that we do at Michelin, we try to embrace those three pillars. So I have a question for you. Michelin, sustainable, and tire. So the good question is, what is a sustainable tires? A tires is pretty complex. It's probably one of the most complex composites that exist in the world because it contains a ton of materials. So even I cannot drastically explain what is a sustainable tire, but one of our directors may have an answer for you.
What does a sustainable product look like? Let's take a tire, for example. What would a tire that contains more and more sustainable materials look like? And what would it take to make improved sustainability visible, to be able to show that our commitments and achievements are not fake? How far should we go? Well, the truth is that unfortunately, sustainability in a tire is not visible to the naked eye. But at Michelin, we don't just design sustainable tires on paper, we make them for real. So what do we mean at Michelin when we talk about sustainable material? Well, the definition we use is actually quite simple. It's a recycled material or a biosourced material which can be renewed over the lifetime of a human being. That's it. 100% sustainable materials in all of our tires is a real challenge. We're not working on a single show tire here. We're working on integrating sustainable materials on a very large scale while maintaining the outstanding product performance levels that are unique to Michelin. But you know what? We go much further than that, because a tire made of 100% sustainable materials still cannot be considered fully sustainable. Why? Because the sustainability of a product is defined by more than just the materials that make it up. If you really want to reduce the environmental impact of a product, you need to look at everything that goes into the creation and use of the product, from cradle to grave. So we are continuously working on every component and every life stage of our tires that can make them more sustainable. For example, the sourcing of our raw materials, the production and transportation of our tires, the performance of our tires while in use, and even their end-of-life recycling. So yes, Michelin's on the right track to reducing our global impact on the environment for real and over the long term, to make our tires truly all sustainable, rather than making confusing claims and shallow promises.
Thank you. So now that you know more about what is a sustainable tire, I will quickly go through this slide. So how to grow in a very intense market. So of course, we rely to our core businesses, which is crafting tires, of course, but also around tires, all the services that we are bringing to the customers, like IoT devices and services around that for fleets, and also beyond tires, which is a group of high-tech materials that we have seen in the very first video, but also 3D printings and hydrogen. To support this ambition, we are going to rely on 6 major pillars. And here we are going to focus on the 5th one, which is how to become a data-driven company, and as we are at Databricks today, how to become a data and AI-driven company. To do that, we are embracing the data mesh architecture, and we are building data platforms. So we are going to deep dive a little bit on
Like,
one of our
I
famous.
will explain data platform. So for data platform, you may know that we have several data lakes in Michelin. Some are specified for research and development, for security data, for personal data, but we have a big one in the center that we name the corporate data lake. Why corporate? We will try to bring all of the domain's data inside this data lake. So for manufacturing, supply chain, finance, purchasing, every application that are in this different domain should push their data in the corporate data lake. And for that, it's a keyword because we need to keep token with our Databricks partnership. So medallion architecture as a keyword. We will push the data in raw, in the bronze layer for sure, enhance our data to the silver one, then consume them into the gold one. And when we say gold, we have two parts of the gold. Some data mart for BI, AI team, and business analytics, and a data product that is an object from the data that will be consumed also by self-service user inside all the company. But we can dive in the technology under this corporate data lake. For that, we have the source with different kind of technology, Java, C#, a lot of technologies. Ingestion part, we use mainly Kafka because it's the best of the art for event data-driven, or Azure Data Factory also for some ELT. We store in an Azure data lake, Gen 2, and we use Databricks to transform our data. It's the biggest tool that we use. Medallion architecture for 2, like that I have a token for later. Access Databricks, or we have a layer with Dremio also for self-service user. And we consume inside PowerBI, Board, Celonis, all over tools that could consume our data. But I think, Fabien, we will talk about one specific item on this map, which is our ERP.
Thank you. So you know at Michelin, we're having several ERPs to manage our pretty much everything, but we have a big one. Okay? It relies on Oracle technologies, and it's managed 80% of our turnover. We are having almost 80,000 users, as you can see behind the subtitles. It's split in 3 time zones, so 1 instance by zone, of course, and it's fully transversal to the whole organization. And this is the starting point when we try to do BI on top of that. So we have a batch plan, which lasts pretty much a day, okay, to bring everything to another database on which we are plugging a BI tool. So if you want to expose such data, which are constantly moving into a data lake, if I can make an analogy with video game, it's like if you start by the end, if you start by fighting the final boss, okay? So you will probably fail into every traps that you may encounter. But where did it all begin, all of that? So we need to go back probably five years ago when the group was embracing 2 major transformations. The first one is event-driven architecture, which was promoting decoupling, the ability to deconnect systems thanks to Kafka. And another one, which was data-driven architecture, okay, to expose data products, build data platform, and have a data mesh philosophy on top of that. So we try to embrace both. And at that time, we had a pretty cool idea, which was to stream our ERP's data. And the idea was so strong that we called the program ERP Flix, like Netflix, of course. The project is dead, but the idea remains. We try to fuel our data lake in streaming with all the data of the ERP coming smoothly into our data lake.
I may then show the ERP Flix at the start, and we continue then. So first exposition that we tried in this journey. We have the ERP team. So as you saw, a lot of teams, 25 teams, something like that only develop on the ERP. So they can provide some batch process to export the data from the ERP to another team that is specialized to expose the result of the batch process into a Kafka topic. All of that was on-premised. So we need to copy the data from Kafka to an Azure blob storage to come into the cloud world of Azure. Then comes the BI team, so us. We will need some data factory to transfer all the Avro files from the blob storage to the corporate data lake, and then process all the files in bronze, silver layer, bronze, silver, gold layer to consume it and have some process. We learn a lot, but the first thing is all the IT team upscale with some new technologies from Kafka, PySpark, data governance also. We learn a lot about that. For business, they have the data in the data lake already. It's working. So for our business, it's a good point. We learned that communication between teams, here you see it's almost in silo. We start, so we need to communicate. For example, if you have an error in the BI, it takes days, weeks to be fixed as in the batch process to come back to the BI. And for the process rating, it's not so well. We have 10 events by second. It's like the car, it's a 2 horsepower. It's very slow. But as you are an IT expert, you may have some solutions.
Maybe. So let's go back to this pattern. How can we improve? The first thing is, why do we have to push Kafka data to the data lake and not pull it directly? It's because, as you can see, the ERP and the Kafka is on-premise. So it's not easy from Databricks to reach our Kafka server. So the first move was to make Kafka in the cloud and the ERP in the cloud. Thanks to that, we had the opportunity to remove the storing part, the blob storage, and the Planet thanked us for that. Because we get rid of billions of Avro files, which were there just for technical reason, and we had the ability to connect directly Databricks in streaming using PySpark and structured streaming directly on the topic. So let's say upskilling ourselves on the streaming technology, pushing data from Kafka to the bronze layer, then implementing micro batches to move from the bronze to the silver. And then, once you have the silver, you want to snapshot gold. Gold are the business case. And once the snapshot is made, we are going to load all of those data inside Power BI. What have we learned? We have learned, thanks to the previous pattern, that communication is key. So we are mixing teams, like one team spirit. We are upscaling ourselves on the streaming technology, and we are having our first successes, especially on purchasing and so on. And also some first in the manufacturing.
But yeah, it's a good racing car, but as a business, I learned a lot and heard some stuff about streaming processes, some other stuff. Don't sure it's the car that you have in reality.
Okay, you got me. Maybe the car is not that beautiful at this stage. We can still improve. How can we do that?
We're trying something else. Okay, so on this part, it's working always with batches on the ERP side. So it's something we heard that Kafka could access directly to ERP database via JDBC connectors and some views directly on the database. So we will implement views and a Kafka connector directly to push the data, to get the data from the database to Kafka. Then we can follow the microbatch to the gold also. Could be good to have the data more in real time. And if you want real time, you need, for Power BI, some direct query, and the direct query needs an SQL warehouse with the SQL endpoint of Databricks. And we optimize a little the flow. So from Kafka to the row, it's not streaming that we detect, it's Kirby. Really, we ingest data at full speed. And brings to that, so the processing rate was, we can say, awesome, because it's more than 100,000 events by second that we can ingest in the bronze layer. For this, the impact for the business, I will review the story of this pattern that we implement. During closure time, the closure for manufacturing takes 3 days to analyze the data, to extract the data, reanalyze, extract, reanalyze. We put this pattern to enhance this closure and to have a better closure for them. Now, it takes less than a day. Their closure takes less than a day with exactly the same analysis that they made in 3 days. So it's a big impact for our business. We can scale our solution, and we learn some stuff that we will share, even if we can lose our contract.
You are showing the shining part of the pattern. Didn't we face some issues?
Okay, we crashed the prod the first time we go with JDBC connector and Kafka. So during a day, the ERP in worldwide Michelin world was down. Sorry for that. But no, we know, and we learn a lot about also how to consume data and aggregate data in kind of real-time mode. It's kind of tricky the first time you do it. But for sure, we will have some future on that.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks to our fails, how can we go further? How can we try to not impact the ERP? The first thing is we're going to implement a change data capture system. And the second part is we are going to reinforce, our Databricks partnership to make things smoother than ever. And I would like to thank you guys. As you may have probably noticed during the keynote, something completely new is happening. So probably my whole presentation is pointless because it will probably be removed by all those pretty cool features. So I can do that probably next month, and the picture would be probably different. So with Databricks guys, which are at the back, thank you guys for that. We have learned a lot about strong capabilities such as liquid clustering, Bloom indexes to speed up the process. And also, thanks to the change data capture system, we are going to get rid of the impact that we are going to do on the ERP directly, because we are going to rely on the archive logs. Then, same story. We are going to embrace pretty cool functionality like Unity Catalog, Delta Live Tables, which is going to be replaced, okay, by Lakeflow. Not so much time to adapt my slides, sorry for that. And we are also going to make accountable the ERP team to export their data till the server layer, okay? And that's the main shift, because when you have guys that are working pretty hard to push their data to Kafka, and on the other side, you have guys who are working pretty hard to understand what those guys have made, you're losing time. So if you are your first consumer, you can say, maybe it's not that perfect, so I will try to improve. So that's our future plan, to make things even smoother for the future. In a nutshell, what is data exposition for an ERP? It's like that. I would say it could be quite straightforward, but the danger is everywhere. You have issue with your organization, because you want to make sure that the teams are properly communicate each others, and you have also issues in the data governance, because such a big system cannot rely on the guy of one team, because it's too transversal to the organization to be put in the hand of one guy. So you have foot fights between individuals who say, this is my stuff, no, this is mine, whatever.
And Fabien, did you notice what happened in France this weekend?
Yeah, 24-hour Le Mans.
Yes, and did you look at the start grid?
Maybe not.
I think I have found a car, orange car. Obviously, Ezurine Van Navin. We wish him a very good race this weekend, because it's one of the toughest in the world. But Databricks help us a lot to optimize the flow and the patterns that you saw. We may have one thing for the next year car to optimize their car. You can detect what could be.
So that's basically the end of our talk. Thank you guys for attending.
And if you have questions, don't hesitate.